The 2025 Melbourne Cup is only days away. Very exciting. I am pumped. I've never put more work into a race, I don't think, in all my life, and my confidence levels are through the roof. Now, what we're going to do in episode 4, we're going to go back and have a look at the 10 factors that I talked about in episode 1. I've got ticks and crosses and a score for every single horse in this Melbourne Cup. Then at the end, I'm going to tell you who I'm going to be on to win $1 million down at the call of the card. First, a little bit of housekeeping. What I want you to do is go to the king.zone and sign up for a free one-day trial to get a full race analysis suite of markets, rated prices, selections, ratings, comments for every race on Cup Day. So if you sign up on Tuesday, you'll get Tuesday free. If you want Monday, if you're having a punt on Monday, you'll get Monday free. Sunday, you'll get Sunday free. So you'll get the free day on the day you sign up. So if you want the Cup, everything for free. If you haven't signed up before, go and sign up on Tuesday. Let's get into the 25 Melbourne Cup. Righto, let's start with Big Al. You can see there a score of 9 out of 10. He's drawn out wide in barrier 19, but the jockey Mark Zara, he's won 2 Melbourne Cups. O'Brien's trained 2 Melbourne Cups. 9 out of 10 is a very high score. He was in my shortlist, and he's still, after I've done the ticks and crosses, he's definitely in my shortlist. The weight is the concern, obviously, with Al Riffa, but I think he's big enough, he's strong enough to carry the weight. From 19, I think Zara will drop in and get a trail. There's a big, long straight down that Flemington Straight, and I expect him to get in. There's a bit of pace in this race too from a map perspective. You've got changing of the guard going forward, and these horses are all drawn wide as well. Torrenzino, I think, will go forward. Smoke and Romans will go forward. River of Stars will go forward. So I'm expecting an average tempo there, which should suit Al Riffa. Track-wise as well, I want to talk about track condition. I've done this for about a soft 7. There's a lot of rain tipped on Monday and also on Cup Day. So I've factored for about a soft 7. So ticks every box for me, Al Riffa, except the weight. Number 2, Buckaroo, coming out of a slashing second in the Cox Plate behind Via Sistina. You can see on the screen there a score of 7 out of 10. I don't know if he gets 3,200. I know everybody thinks that he was unlucky in last year's Cup. Moreira did go wide, but I still thought he had his chance. I know a lot of people disagree and thought he was very unlucky in that Cup. The other thing that I didn't like, which the cross there, is the weight. So it goes up 2.5 kilos, which I think he could be telling in the straight there. Drawn barrier 12, so he's going to have to go back. The thing about Buckaroo for me, which I didn't particularly like, he needs a fast pace to win the race, but I'm not sure that he runs that strong 3,200. So slow pace, he can't win. Fast pace, he needs to be a strong 3,200 metre horse. Even though he rates pretty high at 7 out of 10, I'm not that keen on Buckaroo. Number 3, Arapaho for Bjorn Baker and Rachel King, as you can see there. Only 4 out of 10, ticks 4 boxes, the running style, the sectionals, the distance, and the track condition. But for me, Arapaho just not going good enough. I'll move on from Arapaho. Number 4, Vauban, very interesting horse, a horse I've had my eye on all spring. 8 out of 10, as you can see, a very high score there. Only sectionals and weight are the cross. Gay and Adrian, tick. Blake Shin as well, tick as well. Breeding, we know that Vauban gets 3,200. I like his running style. He's been actually well back to his about 40s into about 26 pre-barrier. He's drawn very well in barrier 2. I expect him to be about $21. His lead-up races, tick because he's come through the Caulfield Cup, but he didn't run that well in the Caulfield Cup. So his recent form is a bit of a query, but he's definitely a horse that I've still got my eye on. Number 5, Chevalier Rose, over from Japan, only 3 out of 10. For me, Chevalier Rose just is not going well enough. Prior form was good, but Chevalier's last 3, just not good enough for me, and a definite pass. Number 6, Presage Nocturne. What I really loved about Presage was that Caulfield Cup run. So it gets a big tick for the lead up. 4th in the Caulfield Cup, which wasn't his suitable distance over 2,400. He's much more of a 3,200 metre horse. Unlike Al Riffa, he has got that run under his belt. The trainer gets across and the weight gets across, but there are 8 ticks there. So that's a very, very high score and was in my shortlist and still is in my shortlist. Number 7, Middle Earth, tried over 2,400 last start in the Caulfield Cup. First time he's been over past 2,000 in Australia. He should get the distance, but he didn't really look like he got the distance in the Caulfield Cup. So at 3,200, score a 6 out of 10, but I didn't like his run in the Caulfield Cup. And it's a definite pass for me. He has been really well backed. I'm surprised there has been so much money for him, but he is a horse with a good overseas ratings, so I can sort of see, I guess, why there's money for him, but just not going well enough for me, Middle Earth. Number 8, Meydan. J-Mac jumps on and the odds tumble down from about 21 into about 14 or 15. But the thing I don't like about Meydan, only 5 out of 10 in my score, but the distance is a definite cross for me, and also barrier 22, which is going to make it tough. Meydan's going to have to go back from the barrier. So going back, as Adam always says, you need to be strong over 3,200. And if you go back and watch the replay of Meydan in episode 3, you will see what I'm talking about. Meydan for me is a definite pass. Number 9, Absurd. Once again, a really, really interesting runner. 8 out of 10. Breeding gets across, class gets across, but we saw Absurd. Once again, if you go back to episode 3, you'll see Absurd's 2024 Melbourne Cup run from the aerial vision. He was really unlucky. I think he should have run a place. His Caulfield Cup run was pretty good as well. Ran 7th, blocked for a run a little bit, should have finished closer, and there's no way that Mullins had him right for that Caulfield Cup. He will improve on that run, and I think we'll get 20 or 25 to 1 Absurd, and I think he's a great bet. Number 10, Flatten the Curve. He's a really interesting horse for Hank and Thor Hammer. There's been a bit of money for Flatten the Curve, and he's got pretty good overseas ratings, Flatten the Curve. He also likes a wet track, which we're going to see probably on Tuesday. I wouldn't completely rule him out. He hasn't had a lead-up run in Australia, but he gets a score there of 6 out of 10. He's a horse that if you're playing your multiples, I wouldn't say don't put him in at all. I think he's a chance at odds. If they bet 50 or 60 to 1, I could easily throw something on him. He's a little bit of an unknown, but those ratings overseas aren't too bad. Number 11, Land Legend for Waller and Moreira, drawn out in 16. For me, he's just not going good enough. 6 out of 10, but he's triple figure odds, and so he should be. He just hasn't come up this spring. Definite pass. Number 12, Smoke and Romans. For Kieran Maher, another horse that's going to go forward. I just think it's so hard to be on pace in this cup when you don't have the class, you don't have the right lead-up races as well that would have got the tick, and you don't have the sectionals to finish off. It's a no for me for Smokin'. Same story with me for number 13, Changing of the Guard. Only a 4 out of 10. Going to go forward and put pace into the race, but query at the distance, lacks a bit of class, definite pass. Here's your favourite, number 14, Half Yours, drawn perfectly in 8 for Jamie Mellon and the McAvoys. We saw how good he was in the Caulfield Cup, but for me, he had the perfect peach run in the Caulfield Cup. He's never been past 2,400. He scores well at 7 out of 10. I'm just a little bit worried that this is a bit of an afterthought for Half Yours. He was set more for a Caulfield Cup. He's run every month since March, I think, as well. Yes, he gets a tick for lead-up races. He does love the wet. If it absolutely pisses down, he's going to grow another leg. I'm not saying he can't win, but he's not really a horse that I want to be on for that reason, that I just don't think he's set for this cup, and he hasn't been past 2,400. Number 15, More Felons, has got the task against it. Lacks a bit of class. Lead-up races aren't great. Not sure about the wet track either. Definite pass for me for More Felons. Number 16, One Smooth Operator. Horse that I was on last year. I fell into him last year. I'm not going to fall into him again after his Moonee Valley Gold Cup winner. His form overseas after the 24 Cup where he failed. He went overseas. He raced 11 times. He placed 3 times. I just don't think it's good enough. I think the field in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup wasn't strong. He should improve off that run, but when he came over last year and won the Geelong Cup, he didn't improve after that. For me, 5 out of 10 in the score. The breeding as well, not for me this year for One Smooth Operator. Number 17, you can see there, a score of 10 out of 10, the only horse that scores 10 for Andrew Balding and Mickey D. Let's talk about his last 2 runs over in the UK. He won at Newbury, then he ran 4th in the UK St Ledger, which is a superior, strong race behind Scandinavia, who was in this cup and Scandinavia was about 10 to 1, ticks every single box. Odds, I reckon further will be about 25 to 1. I'm hoping for about 30 to 1 for further. Further will settle midfield. If you go back and watch that Newbury run, he's got a dynamite sprint as well, handles the wet, runs 3,200. Lead up races, I talked about, the Irish St Ledger is good. Gets in well at the weights. Barrier 7. His sire won an arc about 5 years ago, so he is bred to stay. His sire was by Galileo. The breeding lines are there. I'm definitely going to be on further. Number 18, Parchment Party, another really interesting horse coming over from the US. Has been racing on the dirt, which is a big cross for me. 5 out of 10, as you can see there. I'm just not sure about these US horses coming over. For me, lacks a bit of class, but we will know on the first Tuesday in November. You can't back them all. For me, it's a pass. Number 19, Athabaskan, Declan Bates, fresh off a big victory on prior to Jenny. Can't see him doing the same thing in the Melbourne Cup. 4 out of 10. Athabaskan just not travelling well enough for me. It's a pass for Atha. Number 20, Goody Two Shoes, another really interesting horse coming over from the UK. As you can see there, a score of 5 out of 10. For me, the breeding is a query. The track condition being wet's a query. The lead-up races over in the UK weren't as strong as some of the other horses that are coming over from the UK. Was racing in a lot of fillies and mares races as well. The rating was pretty good, but the actual class of the race wasn't that great. I think it'll be about 50 to 1, which is another cross from me. I'm going to pass on Goody Two Shoes. Number 21, River of Stars. Bo Mertens, Chris Waller, tick, 6 out of 10 for River of Stars. I personally am keener than that 6 out of 10 on River of Stars. And I'll tell you why I'm keen. If you go back and have a look at the Caulfield Cup, it was run at a breakneck tempo with Adelaide River going 100 miles an hour in front. River of Stars sat 4th and was the only horse to continue on and finish in that top 6. River of Stars ran 2nd in the Caulfield Cup. There's also form back in the UK, if you go and have a look at episode 3, behind Pressar's Nocturne. 6 out of 10 gets a cross for track condition, which only just got a cross, has won on a wet track, but not prolific on the wet. The class, bit of a query, was 100 to 1 in that Caulfield Cup, so hasn't won in Australia either, which is a cross. The other thing is the running style, which I'm against, but I don't think there's going to be a breakneck tempo in this, and has drawn inside a lot of the other horses which are going to go forward, so can come across and sit 3rd fence or lead. Really well in at the weights. River of Stars, for me, is an 8 out of 10 in my own mind, but a 6 out of 10 on your screen. Here's your Metrop winner, number 22, Royal Supremacy. Unlucky in the barrier draw, drawn out in barrier 21, which I don't think will help Royal Supremacy. Reason being, query at the 3,200 for mine. Also a bit of a query class, always thereabouts in these sort of races. Ran a good race in the Caulfield Cup, but was never really going to win it. Just don't know if Royal Supremacy has that next level. Whilst he scores highly at 7 out of 10, for me, it's a no, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Royal Supremacy run a big race. And definitely, if you're playing first fours, I'd be throwing him in for 3rd or 4th. But for the win, it's a definite no for me. Number 23, one of these horses that has struck form at the right time, Torrenzino. But 7 out of 10, great score. But for me, ran 2nd behind Valiant King in the Bart Cummings, then came out and won the Geelong Cup. But there's a few key crosses there for me. Number 1 being distance. Number 2 being the trainer. Number 3 being the class. If you mix all those together, Torrenzino, I don't think he's a bad price at around that 30, 40 to 1 mark. Drawn out in 18, that done no favours out in 18. Torrenzino will have to go forward, which I don't really like for Torrenzino. So I don't really like the race shape for Torrenzino. But if you're on him, I do think the price isn't too bad. I think you'll get about 40 to 1. But for me, it's a pass for Torrenzino. Number 24, here's your second favourite and a really, really heavily tipped horse, Valiant King. Drawn barrier 10, Jai McNeil, Chris Waller. Now let's talk about Valiant King, who's another horse who's just gone through the roof. Won the Bart Cummings, was 100 to 1 into 50 to 1 in the Bart Cummings. Then came out in the Caulfield Cup at 33 to 1. And ran a really, really solid race. Everyone wants to tip Valiant King. I don't particularly want to tip Valiant King. Why? He's only ever won 2 races. One was a maiden over in Ireland. His second one was obviously the Bart Cummings, which I just talked about. He gets a score of 6 out of 10. Track condition, I reckon he's a little bit of a query on a wet track. Distance-wise, he ran in the Cup last year, and for me, he failed. So he's not strong at 3,200. And for me, he lacks a bit of class as well. He was a hundreds into 50s in a Bart Cummings. To me, that's not a class horse. I'm not saying he can't win, but what I am saying is at the current price, which I think will be around that $7.50 mark, I think he's under the odds. So let's get into the fun bit. What am I going to back to win a Milli Vanilli down at the call of the card on Monday? I really want to stick it up those bookies down there, but they've got to be betting the right odds. Judging by what they've done the last 3 years, they will be doing that. And I am very excited. What am I going to back? Let's go through my bets because I've got quite a lot of them actually. Maybe I'll back them all to win $1 million. You'll just have to wait and see. And I will be telling you after the call of the card what I have done. But what I like these horses. Obviously, Further 10 out of 10. Our Riffer 9 out of 10. Absurd 8 out of 10. Presage 8 out of 10. Those are my top 4. Then I've also got on the second list a few roughies. I've got Vauban, I've got River of Stars, who I liked, and I've also got Flatten the Curve, who I liked. So those are my top 4. Then the next 3 are on my secondary list. Let's have a look at a bit of exotics because I know how I always play exotics on the Cup. I love it. And I know you guys love playing some exotics, some first fours and trifectas on the Cup. This is how I'd play it. I'd play for first, I'd play our Riffer, Absurd, Further, River of Stars, and Presage Nocturne. I'd also play him for second. I'd also play him for third. So I'd box those up in a trifecta. I would also box those up for first, second, third, and the field for fourth. You never know, you might get 100 or 200 to one shot into fourth. If you want to throw Vauban and Flatten the Curve in as well and box all 7, go for it. I will be back on Monday night to tell you who I've backed at the 2025 call of the card and who I'm definitely going to be on to win $1 million. I'm betting up. My confidence levels are through the roof for this Cup. I've got to tell you, make sure you enjoy your Cup day.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.